wanted to focus our conversation today on managing online reviews. And everyone has different feelings about, your emotional response to when you get a negative review, whether you care or you don't care. And probably all of you at this point have now experienced in your careers, the impact of your firm getting a negative online review, or you personally getting a negative online review, or positive ones for that matter too, and how that feels. So it's amazing to me. I mean, the statistics around people's trust, consumers' trust that they put in online reviews is absolutely insane. The statistic, I'm pulling up the exact statistic so that I'm gonna say what it is, and I'm probably gonna be wrong, but it's still pretty mind blowing. Is when someone gets a personal referral, they typically go to they go to Google, right? And they're gonna just search for you when they've gotten a referral, Joe Wetzel, Livingston Barger, or Joe Wetzel, attorney, Springfield, Illinois. And whatever pops up, right? Whether it's your FindLaw profile, Avvo profile, your firm's website, but your Google My Business typically for your firm is going to pop up as well, which like right in front of you, clear as day, is your star rating on Google and any sort of reviews that might be there. And that might be for the firm as a whole, if it's a lot of people, or it could be for you personally, obviously, if you're in a smaller firm or solo or anything like that. And it's just crazy to me how when someone's been given a personal referral from someone that they know and trust, their propensity for actually not working with you over that person's referral is crazy. Okay, the statistic is, first of all, consumers read an average of 10 online reviews before they feel like they can even trust a local business. 10. So if you have no reviews on your business, or you have 2 or 3, I mean, think about that. They're automatically assuming, oh, maybe you're not that big. Maybe you can't handle their work, blah, blah, blah. Listen to this. I was going to say 80%. I'm pretty damn close. 84% of people trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. How crazy is that? So I go look at Google reviews, which frankly could totally be made up of people's uncles, cousins, and aunts. But as a consumer, I'm trusting those reviews over my best friend who told me, hey, you really should be, working with this particular lawyer. That's just crazy to me. So I'm setting the stage for the fact that these reviews matter, right? They matter. So let's open up the conversation with what have your experiences been? Maybe not how you've solved them, but just talk about. And even if if you say, I've literally had no experiences, I've always been a bigger firm, I've never gotten a review from me personally, that's totally fine too. Share with us, what have been your experiences with online reviews for your firm?
I have had none camp.
Okay.
Me too. And I actually, I don't solicit them because I guess I'm in a very small minority who don't care about online reviews when I'm looking for things. I assume a lot of them are made up or not relevant. The one exception is if I look at Amazon, I'll look and see if there's a theme in the negative reviews, like something like a particular piece on something broke or whatever, but I don't really trust them myself. So I guess I don't solicit them, but apparently that's not a great idea.
Well, it's a really important thing to mention that you're a lawyer, so you don't trust much or anyone really. I'm making it funny, but it's true, right? That your mind is wired to think more cynically and critically. That's what makes you really great at reviewing contracts and finding loopholes and preventing loopholes and all that, right? So that makes sense to me that you would naturally think that way, right? The question is, are your potential clients looking at reviews the same way that you are?
Right.
And that reminds me of a conversation that Jamie and I just had this morning, even about how certain professionals tend to view social media and online reviews, whether Google reviews or on your website reviews, you view it from your lens, but you have to, and I do marketing, like that's what we do. Me, Sarah, and Matt, that's what we do for LBO. And so from our lens, we see it very often that especially attorneys tend to try to target their peers or target from their perspective, where we urge attorneys and any professionals in any area. Like I work with a bunch of professionals and business owners and entrepreneurs, and it's like, who is your target audience? The point of digital media, the point of online reviews is to appeal to who could potentially be your audience and your client. And so it's a hard shift, but it's not to scratch your itch. It's speaking to who may need your services and speaking that language. It's kind of like understanding a foreign language. You have to step out of your comfort zone and learn who you're communicating to, because it's potential clients. That's who you're reaching.
Anybody else experiences?
Yeah, I'm the same category that I think we've had one that I can think of a couple of years ago that was on one of the Google sites or Google predecessor, because we don't have that great a presence. So I can't really speak to it either. I do know that somebody had gotten to the State Bar Association site and had posted some things about me that were unflattering. An old mentally ill client, actually, we were having a dispute with, and they, of course, promptly removed it and blocked her and told me. But yeah, I don't have anything really that goes really to the law firm much of an experience at all in terms of that.
Yeah, I'd say the same as Randy. We are conscientious of it. We will get updates, we'll look, but we don't spend probably as much time as we should in looking at those reviews, because I guess we all keep going back to may or may not be the case, but like everybody thinks this industry is unique. It's about relationships. That's true of a lot of industries, but yeah, we don't have a lot of experience in although we try to find out what's being said, but we don't spend a lot of time like we should.
So I can speak to a different perspective. For our firm, we have 31 attorneys, and I'm not an attorney, like getting the sense that I'm on the call with a lot of attorneys. But I'm the operations director, and so marketing is one of the areas that I oversee for the firm. And our firm has a good-sized family law department, and those clients, the adverse parties, are more apt to post a negative review, or even someone who's been a client who is not happy with the outcome of their matter. So we've had some of that, and had to take a stance as a firm that, we're not going to respond to those things. We're not going to dig into it. And that's really, really hard to let go. People's inclination is definitely to get into a comment war, to want to do that. So every time one comes up, we have to have that conversation with the attorney that was targeted. Like, no, we're not going to get into this. And we've also had to make a more concerted effort because of what Jamie talked about with the star rating. Like, I can't believe how real of a thing that is to be reporting to my board of directors on our star reporting, or our star rating for Google. But it's a real thing. And so we've had a more concerted effort lately, over the last few months, to reach out to specific clients who we know have a good relationship, and the attorney will more or less solicit a Google review, which, it just doesn't feel good. It feels almost kind of cheap, I think. To be like, hey, can you give us a good online rating? But the end result is our star rating went from like 1.5 to 4.5. And we're seeing the results of that in our Google rankings just astronomically. We are now appearing in the top 10 of Google searches, where before we would have been a couple of pages back. So it does matter and make a difference, as weird as it seems.
Definitely does. I actually just like kind of searched all of your firms quickly. So PCB is a 3.7 right now. Google reviews. Carmody is 4.7, which is fantastic. Now there are only 9 for Carmody and there are 34 for Polycamazine. So that makes a lot of sense. Feldman Wasser is 3.8 with 13 Google reviews. I think the concern, Randy, on Feldman Wasser is the very first one, the most recent one that pops up is worst decision to hire this firm, 1 star. And this was 2 months ago, right?
Fortunately, that's not my department.
Fortunately, you're a partner. You're an equity partner in this firm.
Yes, but it is something that is not
made a stressful situation even more stressful, not helpful, antagonist, unprofessional by not responding to correspondence. Worst experience. I do not recommend this firm.
It is probably a family law client, which would not be mine as well, but it is a direct reflection on how we manage, or honestly, how we fail to manage.
Well, the next one, the very second one, 3 months ago, is a 1 star. And this is just a potential client that's literally just trying to get a hold of a lawyer and was treated really rudely and never responded to. So I'm only pointing that out because, like, when you look at Polycamazine, for example, 3.7 on the surface might feel low compared to 5, but all the newest ones and the top ones are all 5 stars, right? So the first thing you see when you open it is positive reviews. Carmody 4.7 is really high. That's great. But again, there's only 9 of them. And one of them's Bill Carmody and one's Gary Berger. It's like two big name lawyers in St. Louis. So the problem comes, right? Like Allison was speaking to, when you start getting even just 1 or 2 negative reviews, but you only have 9, or you only have, that's when your stars like start to tank, right? Because collectively, if you get 2 negatives, and especially if they're right at the top, that's the first thing that people see. So I think that it's interesting, even what Allison shared about a choice, and I would love to get the feedback of the group on the choice to not respond. And Allison, maybe you could clarify for us real quick. Do you all not respond to any of the reviews, or you just don't respond to the negative ones?
So at the beginning, we only had negative reviews.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you know, and so we definitely weren't responding to that. And so part of it is the names of, you know, we might investigate and look in our system, who is this client?
Mm-hmm.
The name doesn't even appear in our system. So it's not a legit review. There was one that was clearly made up. It was like, I love cats or something like that was the name of the poster, mm-hmm. The reviewer. And so we couldn't reach out to a specific person to say, hey, what could we have done better? How can we assist you, or to work on that relationship at all? And the conscious decision was, we're not going to get involved in the comments and back and forth with the negative review, partly because it looks bad and partly because of confidentiality. Mm-hmm. You can't, you know, we don't want to breach anything there. And the more positive ones that have been recently have been solicited, where our attorneys have reached out and, you know, done an individual email and said, hey, would you mind helping us, especially in this time of COVID and everything is more online and remote. So we would really appreciate it. So we haven't responded to that because we expected them and asked for them.
Sure.
Yeah, Allison, you bring up a good point. I mean, I've been in other industries, but I will say one thing that's very unique is at least our attorneys here are very reluctant to come across as being salesy, and I think that's very true in this industry more than the other industries I've been in. They don't want to look like that they're. So even when I say, "Hey, have you followed up with the potential client?" A lot of our attorneys don't feel even comfortable doing that. So I will do it if we have a potential, because they're real hesitant to come across as being seen as
Advertising or,
yeah. I mean, even on their LinkedIn, I have a lot of attorneys that I coach on LinkedIn. When I said, "Oh, maybe you asked somebody to write a review," there's a lot of them are just don't feel comfortable even doing that. So I'm not saying we don't have attorneys that aren't willing to do it, but I bet it was probably a struggle for you to, and I know I'd have struggles saying, "Hey, maybe can you reach out to somebody?" I can't even get them to ask somebody to write a review for their LinkedIn, because there's a fear of that coming across as too salesy and too pushy. And I want to build a relationship, a long-term relationship. I don't want a one and done.
Yeah, and it definitely depends on the personality of the attorney. So I will say our family law attorneys are a little more gregarious and out there and more likely to do that than, say, our corporate or estate planning side.
Yeah.
And so that definitely, feeds into it.
Yeah.
Any other like opinions or thoughts on like commenting versus not commenting on reviews?
I don't think we do. That's my understanding. But again, somebody else is tasked with doing that. And
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I don't see, Carmody doesn't have any responses or comments. It doesn't look like Feldman Wasser does either.
Interesting. It says Bill Carmody. We don't even have a Bill Carmody.
Like someone probably made it up.
Yeah, that's a brother of one of our attorneys who is not an attorney. He has a brother named Bill.
Well, Bill Carmody, though, is the person that's reviewing it, not.
Oh.
This is a person that's reviewing it. But like, if you're someone who's looking at this and you don't know Jerry Carmody, right? Or wait, Jerry.
There's a Jerry and a Jim.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait, I feel like there's both. If you don't know Jerry or Jim and you're looking at reviews and you see this is Carmody McDonald, I mean, you're going to just assume that Bill Carmody is the Carmody, right? This is the reviewer. And, people aren't going to know Gary Berger. Obviously, we know Gary Berger because we're in this industry. Well, I have some particular opinions about commenting. And to each his own, right? And what we'll do is we'll send out or post on LinkedIn the presentation that I've done on this. I just did this for MOBAR in August, the Solo Small Firm Conference. But I've presented this a couple times. I presented it at Lexport for MOBAR last year too. But I have a strong opinion that you should be commenting on every single post, every single review. And why that is because then you get the opportunity to actually put a voice to your brand and who you are, rather than remaining silent. And when I say, I think every post should have a comment on it, I don't mean that you debate and go back and forth and say anything about the case at all, right? You just take the opportunity. You're not commenting for the poster. You're commenting for the people that are coming behind that poster and seeing the reviews and using them as an assessment tool. So if you've got an I Love Cats poster that gave you a negative review, a simple comment that says, hey, I love cats. We're so sorry that you didn't have a good experience with our firm. Because of anonymity reasons, we don't have access to, who you are. Please reach out to our Director of Operations, Allison Worley, at this email address. You're more than welcome, especially if you're a smaller firm. One of the managing partners of one of our clients gives her personal cell phone number because she gives her cell phone number out to her clients already anyway. Here's my personal cell phone number. Please call me because we'd really like to make this right. Trust me, that person's not going to call you. They're not going to call you. They're not going to email you. They might, I mean, I've been in family law. I know what it's like, right? I'm not coming from a corporate law perspective. So just trust me, they won't. But if they do, whatever, then you're engaging in conversation that's a private conversation, right? And you may not be able to do anything for them, but at a minimum, you put out who you are as a brand and how you're responding in a professional and thoughtful way. And with the positive reviews, thanking people, it makes them feel so good to say, thank you for giving us this feedback. I saw a comment, because I know Brittany, but I saw a comment on Carmody's about Brittany. I'm assuming that's my Brittany Brown, but I'm like, to be able to say, we love Brittany too. She's a really great lawyer, and we're so glad she's a part of our firm, right? It gives you that opportunity to even like give a kudos to the person that they took the time, right? And I would say, Allison, especially the people that you've solicited a review from, first of all, you should not feel sheepish. It is all about mindset when you ask for a review. You're only asking for a review from people that have already expressed their gratitude and that they were really happy with your services, right? So this is just asking them to say the things they've already said, but in a different format, right? Or in a different platform. And when they actually do the thing that you ask them to do and they take their time, even more so, say Mr. Smith or whatever their name is on there, Bill Carmody. Thanks so much, Bill. We really love our clients. We love the work that we do, and we really value your time. And we're so grateful that you took the time to give us this positive review. Again, Bill is not going to necessarily feel one way or the other. Like maybe they'll get great feelings out of you saying thank you. Even if Bill is flatline and doesn't really care either way, you're writing it for the people that are looking at those reviews after the fact and are your potential customers. So that's my opinion. But because I think that when you start to pass judgment on positive reviews versus negative reviews and only commenting on the positive, then you send a message about your brand that's unintentional. Meaning, oh, well, we like you if you like us, but we're just going to remain silent if you don't like us. And I think it's more incriminating. Like, oh, maybe they did mess things up, right? And sometimes you can get a negative review that frankly is true, right? I mean, we mess things up sometimes, especially when firms get bigger, you lose control. The brand starts to lose control over the consistency of practice and experience when now you've got 20 associates in your firm, right? All varied levels of experiences. And so sometimes you did mess something up, right? Or you didn't do everything you could have done. And just by simply responding to that negative review and acknowledging that person, right? And saying, we really do strive for our clients to have the best of experiences, but sometimes we know we don't hit the mark. You're not admitting fault to that person. You're just acknowledging imperfection because we're humanity. And we have a very strong belief that people want to connect with humans, and lawyers have historically not been putting themselves out there as humans. Right. And that's part of the disconnect and why people don't trust lawyers is because they don't see you as people and as humans, and they're not interacting with a real person. So to be able to acknowledge, I know it's hard to say that we messed something up, but we can say we're imperfect. We don't always hit the mark without acknowledging fault. Right. Because I get that's that could be an issue. So those are my thoughts, at least on commenting on reviews, or that's at least my opinion, right? And it's rooted in all in brand reputation and trying to strengthen how people see your brand. And just remaining silent doesn't give you any opportunity to show them who you are. So
I think that's some really, really good food for thought. We do work with an outside marketing company who has I feel kind of pressured us about responding, but they haven't put kind of that spin on it or provided that lens of, it is about the brand, and putting a voice to it really, really resonates. So thank you.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. I think that's because most traditional agencies are looking at Google SEO and data. So they're trying to convince you with Google SEO and data when, sometimes you buy into that, sometimes you don't. But I think what everyone can resonate with is who we are, right? Like who we are is important. So, what about one other thought I just wanted to put out there, like here at the end, is the idea of, I know it's controversial, but I would just love to know what you all think. There never used to be this legal practice area, like in the last 10 years, like it didn't even exist, but there are law firms now that specifically their work is to get negative Google reviews taken down and to sue clients, to sue former clients for their posts. And mostly that's around like defamatory posts, right? Or posts that aren't true. I don't know obviously I have my opinions, but I've been a part of a firm before that started to take legal action against former clients for their reviews because reviews can be very detrimental to small businesses, right? In small markets. So well, let's know your thoughts about aggressiveness or approaching negative online reviews with a little bit of aggression. Thoughts?
Can you repeat? You're saying how do you aggressively approaching negative reviews?
How do you feel about it? How would you feel about suing a particular client or a former client over a negative online review if something they posted was defamatory, untrue, particularly,
So I'm just going to give some insights because we do solicit reviews on behalf of some of our clients. And one case that has come up at least 2 or 3 times is, especially in family law, the opposing party or someone related to the opposing party leaving a really negative review when they haven't been a client of the attorney and just because they're on the opposing side, even and when a case is still open, especially that's when it's more damaging because it's like they're still in negotiations of what they're doing. What we've had attorneys do is reach out to the opposing party and let them know like, hey, your client is leaving, saying a lot of stuff about me, and generally that kind of quashes it a bit. But I have, depending on what is used, I have heard, people do, because it is very hard to get a review removed from Google, that sometimes taking legal action kind of will speed up the process. I haven't had any experience with that particular case, but our experience has been usually directly reaching out to the individual or someone connected with them, how they got connected with the firm, to try to see if there's any way to remedy it before pursuing legal action.
Anybody else thoughts?
I feel like that could quickly and easily become a pretty big drain on resources that should be put towards better initiatives.
Yeah, I think that it would be a better use of time to just go and solicit more positive reviews to outweigh those negative defamatory reviews. The best course of action, I think, would be to respond to it with a pretty clear message that, none of this stuff is true. So as people are doing their research and reading the reviews, they can see the firm's response, kind of take whatever that negative review was with a grain of salt. But then if there are, 25 other positive reviews, it's going to make that negative review look even worse and not as impactful to the opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're getting a whole lot of negative reviews all at once, and it doesn't seem to be like one family is like ganging up on the firm because of a bad outcome, but it's like a bunch of different things. Maybe there is something internally that needs to be addressed. Maybe there are service levels that need to be upped, and training and mentoring with the attorneys about, whether it's responsiveness, which is always a big one.
Yep.
And I don't know. I feel like making yourself better out of it is more a better use of those resources than going after somebody because of it. I don't know.
I totally agree. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because it's easy to assume negative reviews are all wrong, right? Or incorrect, or someone's just emotional. When in reality, everything they say could be actually true, right? If someone's saying, I tried calling the firm to set up a consultation 3 different times and was told I would get a call back and never did, there's clearly a problem in the intake process. So what's happening in the intake process, right? It's better to say that, or to go down that road and have that conversation than just be like, oh, this person just is just negative and keeps bothering us and is called 3 times, right? So I'm really glad you brought that up because that's where you need to start. Is there actually something broken here? Let's actually take a step back and look at what we have going on. I mean, I completely agree. The bar has gotten more engaged on this topic than they have been historically, because it has become like such a big thing. So what I'm about to say is acceptable in some states, but not in others. And that's the idea of trying to communicate with this person and leveraging some like discount on your services in exchange for them taking their review down. That is not illegal or unethical in a lot of states. And why that is because you're actually saying to the client, you're not admitting that you've handled the case inappropriately. You know, it's not, I mean, if you're not responsive enough and it makes the client really upset and emotional, you know, you're not going to have a huge infraction on your bar license for that, right? But it doesn't speak well to you as a lawyer and your abilities to serve the client well. So sometimes if you can get on the phone with the person and, you know, just apologize and tell them you're right. You know, we didn't hit the mark. We didn't meet your expectations. We really want to make it right with you. As you know, these reviews are really detrimental to us. Can we make it right for you in exchange for taking down your review? I mean, the risky thing is that they can say they're going to take it down, but then you're at their mercy to actually doing it, right? And some bars have gotten hip to this and said, no, we're not okay. Like if it's still an active case, sometimes you can say, hey, we're going to shave off, you know, an hour of your lawyer's time, you know, $275 worth of value or whatever. Or you owe us $500. We're just going to wipe it out. You don't owe us any more money because we're at least acknowledging that we didn't hit the mark. And how can we make it right with you? And in exchange for that, would you be willing, you know, to take down the review? And here's what we're doing to try to fix that lack of responsiveness in the firm going forward for other clients. I'm kind of like mixed on how I feel about that because it has to be the right person communicating in the right way to not open yourself up for more issues. But if it becomes a big enough problem in certain, especially when you have multiple office locations, because what happens when you have multiple office locations is now you've got multiple Google My Business pages. So you could have a Google My Business page, Carmody McDonald, Clayton, Missouri, that's got, you know, 29 reviews and 4.5 stars. Well, then the second you open one in Carmody in Kansas City, and there's only 2 reviews and they're both negative. Well, now anyone who's looking at Carmody in Kansas City is only going to see that rating, right? They're not going to see the Carmody in St. Louis. So that's where it starts to get a little bit tricky and you might need to leverage that strategy a little bit more. So I'm just putting that out there in case you guys ever bump into that issue. And Google, you can partner with them to get some removed, as you know, Allison mentioned earlier. One of the last things I wanted to say before we wrap up here and maybe share some things at the end is that as your firm grows, I think it's important to remind your lawyers that they are connected to a brand, and that brand, our reputation is connected to each other. You know, so understanding that if I'm not in the family law department, I should really care about how the family law department's reviews are going, right? Or if I'm in the family law department, I should care about how our reviews are affecting the corporate transactional department, right? And I think it's easy to forget that we think of ourselves as like an individual person, and we forget that we're all connected to this same firm and the same brand. And so, it matters. And I think reminding, like even in a firm meeting, just reminding people that, hey, our reputation's all connected to each other. So we know we're not going to all be perfect, but when you make a choice to not be responsive to your client and it results in getting negative reviews, like that's not affecting you as an individual. It's affecting the firm as well. It's not affecting just you as an individual. So I like setting that tone too, because now it's like now our reputation's all connected to each other, and your abilities to continue to get more work as a lawyer is impacted by the way that people feel about our firm. So we can all kind of be connected to the strategy together. So now it's not just the apps director or the marketing team that feels responsible for positive online reviews. It's everybody that feels responsible. So everyone's empowered, lawyers, legal assistants. If they hear a client saying, oh, I'm just so happy, I'm so excited about blah, 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 everyone should have in the back of their mind, that's so great. I'm so glad you've had a good experience. Would you mind leaving us a Google review? Get all your people to have a signature in their Outlook that's just how to leave a review. And it's got all the hyperlinks and everything. I mean, you can even have all the legal assistants save it as a signature in all the lawyers, Outlooks. So then the second you have that conversation, everyone's got it top of mind. That is a proactive approach. That's how we're not just triaging all the time when, oh crap, we only have 4 negative reviews and 10 total and our stars are really bad. That constant influx of the positives really helps outweigh than when you do get hit with 1 negative. It's not going to completely take the whole thing. So any other final thoughts on the reviews conversation before we move on and do something fun? Does anyone have anything funny, uplifting?
I thought of something, Jamie. I have something funny. And
Great.
This is going to be a real test of age and maybe experience in law firms. Let me get it pulled up. Oh.
Are we doing a generational diversity test?
No, Jamie, it's what I texted you this morning.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember?
No, but that's okay.
Well, you'll just be surprised like everyone else. Okay, I think I have permission to share screen. Okay, so we're going to share this on our social media later. So don't post the answer on social media if you know. Does anyone know what this device is? Or has anyone used this device?
Randy, you've got to know what this is.
It looks like a time clock to me.
Close.
Chris
Any
has
other guesses?
Legal, so
This is something that is still being actively used in at least one law firm in St. Louis, I can tell you.
Is it like a time stamp, or I don't know what that
It is a stamp. So this is
it's an office if it's an office receive stamp, like at the reception or your mail room.
Close. Any other final guesses before I tell?
The problem is I don't recognize the brand name. If you know what the brand
Yeah. So it is a bait stamping machine.
Oh, okay.
My dad, until literally last year, was still paying someone hourly, aka maybe I might have been that person at some point. And maybe I had a bit of an advantage for not telling him about newer technologies, but was still paying someone to manually bait stamp all of his evidence docs. And he used to be a big litigator. He's now in the nonprofit side, so it hasn't been in use in a while. But he literally didn't know about the automatic PDF leaving a footer. I tried getting him on some newer technologies, but he still has this in his office. I found this when I was helping him clean out. We found a lot of floppy disk. He's like, oh, I need to save these. I'm like, this has easily not been used in 10 years. I think this is something you can throw out. I wouldn't even know how to find something that could read a floppy disk.
Go to eBay. You'd have to go to eBay to find
we'd have to go somewhere to get those files. And he's like, well, I need to keep all my case records from the past 7 years. I was like, this is easily older than 7 years, Al. I honestly, I don't know. But I saw this when I was helping him clean out his office. He wants to keep it or donate it to a museum along with his phone in the bag. I I thought I'd post this on our social to see how many attorneys or associates out there were familiar or still had to use this type of device. I feel like I'm walking back in time into an episode of Mad Men every time I go into my dad's office. I half expect people to be smoking cigarettes and drinking whiskey. He still uses a tape recorder to dictate to his legal assistant, and they have a push pedal like listening machine. I mean, and the guy has an iPhone. I mean, it's not for lack of other resources. It's just what he's comfortable with. So, you can take the man into the 21st century, but man, his office is still going to be operating like it's in the 1980s. So
That's hilarious. Well, that was cute. Thanks for sharing that. I love it. That's awesome. I didn't know what it was. I could guess just contextually, but I was like, I've definitely never seen one of those before.
yeah, I had to reverse learn technology to be able to learn in my dad's office. There was a technology gap. I couldn't use, I mean, he would say stuff like, Sarah, go Xerox this. And I'm like, Xerox? It's like, that was the copy it. Or I had to learn how to use a typewriter because that's how he did his Avery labels. He didn't know how to do the Microsoft. He was still using WordPerfect until 2 years ago. I mean, I try to help.
I still use WordPerfect.
Oh, Randy, no.
Yeah.
Do you have to like reformat it to be able to upload it into like court systems and federal? Like, do they accept WordPerfect documents?
No, I run everything. You do PDFs. You can convert to
Yeah.
PDF.
Okay.
So PDF for it. It honestly, right now, it's pretty easy to go back and forth between WordPerfect and Word. I use them both. And
Jamie
now
calls that a legacy program.
Yeah, my Mac does not like WordPerfect, but
Macs can run WordPerfect?
yeah, it does not care for it. I found so, but which is all right.
No, Randy.
Which
Oh my
is
gosh, I love it.
yeah, it's great.
It's great. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for hopping on today, talking about online reviews. Really appreciate it.
Look at my.
Oh,
sweater.
nice.
There used to be little sticks in here, like logs. I got this at a consignment shop in Columbia, Missouri about 10 years ago. So
I
Yeah.
love ugly Christmas sweaters. They're the annual gift that just keeps on giving.
well, actually, I might repost this. The Oregon governor just shared the new trend for ugly Christmas sweaters. It's ugly Christmas mask. She had a mask that had a snow globe embedded in it. I don't know how she was holding that up with her face. It must have been all plastic. But now it's like the new ugly, like people have Santa beards and like
Hilarious.
mistletoe and other funny, weird things hanging from their face mask now. So be on the lookout for that trend.
Happy holidays, everyone. Have a
Thank
great
Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah.